So the first text which we're going to be looking at in relation to poetry is the poem The Tiger by William Blake. Now, this poem was published by English poet William Blake in 1794. It is one of his best-known poems, and it was published in his collection called The Songs of Experience. It explores the creation of the tiger, so it literally imagines the day that God decided to create a tiger as a species of animal, and how this magnificent creature is terrifying for man. So he casts some blame on God for creating such a terrible creature which has potential to cause so much damage on earth. So let's look at a couple of extracts from this poem and identify some of the way that Blake is using imagery in order to create a really beautiful work. So we'll read this extract. In what distant deeps or skies burnt the fire of thine eyes? On what wings dare he aspire? What the hand dare seize the fire? And what shoulder and what art could twist the sinews of thy heart? And when thy heart began to beat, what dread hand and what dread feet? So, firstly that we're going to highlight here is the consistent religious imagery that's being used. So the tiger is being built or almost created by God. And as a result, the poem is questioning the nature of God, questioning why did God create such a terrible, terrifying creature? At the same time though, the poet's also showing how incredibly powerful God is to be able to make this creature. So we see references to the hand dare seize, God's hand which is constructing this species which is going to come to earth. And we really get that sense that the tiger is being built out of nothing. So the line, and when thy heart began to beat, gives the sense that, once the tiger didn't exist and now did. So that creation of life. The next thing that's really important to highlight is the fire motif. So burnt the fire and seized the fire. This creates a strong image of colour and also the power of the tiger. Obviously, the colour of the fire, which is an orange colour, links very specifically to the orange colour of the tiger. However, also fire is a very powerful element. It's very destructive, it's very invasive, and that comparison's being drawn with the tiger's power to attack people. We'll continue on with this extract. What the hammer, what the chain? In what furnace was thy brain? What the anvil? What dread gasp dare its deadly terrors clasp? When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee? So here again, we're getting that imagery of the blacksmith. Now we're moving away perhaps from God creating the image to almost man constructing this tiger. So the hammer and the chain and the anvil are all literally tools used by the blacksmith when he's constructing pieces of metal. The creature is represented as terrible and powerful and also as being deliberately built. So someone's literally decided to construct this terrible creature from scratch. The star imagery highlighted here is also extremely important. This shows that the tiger is very feared, so afraid that the stars are even terrified of the tiger and are throwing spears in the direction and are crying because they're so afraid of this terrible creature. The continuation of the fire imagery is also extended through what's highlighted here. The furnace is obviously the place where fire is brewed and fueled. So we get, obviously, throughout the poem, a continuation of imagery. And that's something really important to keep in mind. Imagery which is introduced is often extended throughout the whole poem. So what that means is that poems aren't isolated where two lines focus on one piece of imagery and then the next two focus on an entirely different piece. The whole poem collaborates and interacts pieces of imagery to ensure a really consistent and flowing piece of work. The continuation of the creation imagery here is also really important. So, in particular, the last line, did he who make the lamb make thee? We're getting that comparison to God. The poet's asking, is the same God who created the lamb, a metaphor for Jesus, really the same person who created this terrifying creature? How could he do this? So that imagery there is extremely powerful and is highlighted through the repetition of the rhetorical question format.